wanted to start by saying that how do you access this mythical pathways system? So we have two different websites. We have the website that you sign up on the agendas for, and then you have the Toastmasters International website. And to access pathways, you actually go on the Toastmasters International website, which is toastmasters.org. So I know a few of you brought your laptops, so that's great if you could follow along. Once you get to the site, you click Login. And if you haven't actually logged in for the first time, you can go to Forgot Your Password, and then use the email that you signed up with Toastmasters with, which is the email that you get updates from Toastmasters with this logo on, okay? And that will send you a new password that you can then update your password by. So I will log in to my account. And this brings up the main login page. So there's all different sorts of information on the page, this infographic that loops constantly through. But to access Pathways, there's two different ways to go. There's this Pathways banner here that has a bunch of links, or what Toastmasters is trying to do is get you to hit the welcome and your name to access everything in Pathways. So if you do that, it brings up all of the information on what you are working on and all of your personal information. But if you go to these links, there is the Go to Basecamp, which is once you've actually signed up in Pathways, how do you actually access the system. You can choose a path here, which I will show you now, and then View the Navigator, which is a set of resources that tells you, that kind of walks you through how to access Pathways and how the system works, much like what I'm doing today. So for everyone following along, if you go to choose, if you haven't already selected a path, it should just say choose a path. And so if you click choose a path, do that. Now, this is a little bit different from what previously was done in the past. In the past, you would actually have to do an assessment of what your goals would be in Toastmasters. This has been changed over the last few months to give you a little bit more choice. So I wanted to walk you through that here. The first option is selecting your language. I think we're all in English here, so that should be easy. The second is whether you want to access your materials online or get printed materials like you used to in the old version. Now, there's a lot of different resources about why you should choose one or the other. What I will say is that I think it's best to do the online version because number one, it gives you the full choice of all of the paths, whereas I think there's only 6 or 7 of the paths that are actually printed out and can be mailed to you.
Eric, how many paths are there?
There are 11 paths total, and I'll get into the specifics once we actually get into the signing up for the path. You also have to pay to have all of the resources printed out, $25, whereas there actually are options once you actually get signed up to actually print all of the projects in your path afterward, and I'll show you how to do that. So it doesn't really make sense financially. And there's also some video tutorials and other activities that you get with the online version that you don't get in the printed materials. So I highly suggest doing everything online, at least to start. So if you select that, it says select digital resources. And then you have an option to either take the online assessment or view all of the path options. So I'll just take the assessment real quick so you kind of see what this is. You select English and you start the assessment, and it basically takes through the topics that you're interested in learning about. So I'm interested in public speaking, leadership, and motivating others. So I click that, hit next, and then it asks me which one of these is most related to the personal and professional goals. So leadership. and then it keeps going for a few more screens. You see after 2 screens, it's about 7%, so it doesn't take all that long to do this. And at the end of this, it will come up with your top 3 choices of paths you might want to look at. A recommended option, and then 2 other potential paths. You don't have to choose any of them. You actually have the option to choose any of the 11 paths, but this kind of helps you narrow it down in a way that the system kind of recognizes and helps weed out some things that you may not be interested in. So I'll go ahead and exit out of that and switch to just the view paths options, because this is new as of a few months ago. So if you look at all of the path options, this is where you can actually view all 11 paths. And you'll see that there's this recommended one, presentation mastery. This is basically solely communication, getting up here and giving speeches. All of the others have some form of leadership components intertwined in it. So if you taking roles in meetings, being a leader in the club, and taking a role in various club activities. So there is an option for you to learn more about each path here, and an option to actually view all the projects in each path, so that you can see exactly what you would be working on while you are in your path. So say I looked at all this and wanted dynamic leadership as my path. Select that, click continue, confirm the selection, and it takes me to a checkout page. Now, I'll say more about this in a minute, but you'll make sure that all your information is correct on this page. Now, this is showing me a $20 fee. This is because I am already signed up for a path. Your first path is free, so this should be $0 for you. Once you order your path, I believe you have 30 days to kind of try it out and see if it's what you like. And if you don't like it, you can contact Toastmasters and reset the process and start in a different path. However, after 30 days, you are stuck with the path until you finish it, unless you want to pay an additional $20 to select a new path before you finish. And once you finish your first path, I believe you get your second path for free through the same process. But just wanted to make note that that should not cost you anything to select the path. Once you go through all of these screens and place your order, you should get an email within about 5 to 10 minutes saying, congratulations, you're successful and you're signed up in your path. So that is the quick sample of how you select your path and pathways. Are there any questions about that before I move into the actual pathway system?